Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing. And today we've got another combo that we haven't tried, and it's one that a couple of you guys had suggested that you wanted to see, and I definitely want to see what it can do as well, because in theory it should give us a pretty solid looking pattern. We've seen a lot of good performances from these particular type of shells before and this choke, so we'll see what the combination of these two in particular can do. But as for those shells I've got today, I brought out some of these, the Federal copper plated buckshot loads. These ones in particular are the 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 12 pellet load of double-aught buck moving about 1,290 feet per second. We've tried the vast majority of all the different copper plated loadings, and we know that the double-aught loadings are some very solid performers, so we'll see what the 2 3/4 12 pellet loads can give us through today's choke. And as for that setup, I brought out the Remington 1187. It has a 28 inch barrel on it, and for a choke, we've got buck kicker full choke in the gun. This particular buck kicker measures out right at a 693 constriction, so very typical full choke type of range, and it has shown us some very nice patterns with a number of these Federal copper plated buckshot loads, and who knows, we might get lucky and it be a perfect combination, but we'll see what it can do. But as for our test, everything is the same as usual. I've got the big sheet of paper at 40 yards. I've got the chronograph so we can get our velocity from the shell, and I've got the templates that we can lay up over our results when we go look at those as well. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see just what the Federal copper plated 12 pellet double-aught shells can give us through the Kicks buck kicker full choke. I have some decently high hopes for this combination because in theory it should work out pretty good, but let's go over here and take our shot and see what kind of pattern it gives us. Alright, so that shell gave us 1220 through the chronograph. The box does claim 1290, but from what I can remember, mid 1200s was kind of about what we had been seeing from these shells through that same 28 inch barrel, 1187. And also a lot of the copper plated shells, I believe, are rated about 1225 or so. So I guess overall, we're looking perfectly fine for velocity, even though we didn't quite see their claim. That's still plenty good enough for them. But what kind of a pattern did they give us through that buck kicker down there at 40 yards? Let's go check it out and see what we got. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and I gotta say, we saw some pretty nice looking results from that combo. Now for a quick reference, the paper's 36 inches wide there by about 44 inches tall or so. The white dot was my point of aim, and we did have all 12 pellets on the target. All of them are right there on your screen, and it's a pretty nice and condensed pattern. Everything is right around our white dot point of aim right there. These couple pellets up here at the top might be on the edge of being a little bit of a flyer, but they're still kind of right in there with the rest of them. Definitely not way off or out in the middle of nowhere. But I did measure the farthest 2 points across, which is pretty much straight up and down there, gave us right at a 16 inch spread at 40 yards. So yeah, 16 inches with 12 pellets of double-aught buck at mid 1200s for velocity at 40 yards. That is a very nice looking performance. Technically, it doesn't quite break the top 5 or so that we've seen as far as patterns go from that choke with double-aught and stuff, but that is absolutely a nice pattern, very usable all day long, and I don't think we can really have too many complaints about that. It's a very nice and even spread of them right through our white dot area there. Again, maybe you might call one or two of these top ones borderline flyers, but everything is right there, and definitely a very nice looking pattern. But let's throw a couple templates up, which will give us a little better idea of how they performed over just the bare sheet of paper here. So first up here is our 10 inch circle, and I do believe the core of our pattern was pretty much dead on the money there. We had 7 out of the 12 pellets right through a 10 inch circle at 40 yards, and you can see those couple little stragglers up there high, but they're still right there next to the template. And 7 pellets worth of double-aught right through a 10 inch circle, vital sized area at 40 would absolutely be devastating, no question about it. And it's really kind of about as even of a spread as what you could ask for through there as well. We pretty well drew a circle around the white dot with one right in the middle of it. So looking very nice for a 10 inch circle, but let's throw some animal templates up and see what it would look like for a hunting pattern. So here's our deer template, and if we put it right where our point of aim would have been, that would have absolutely been devastating. We have 10 out of the 12 pellets that would have hit this deer, 9 of which are right through the shoulders, vital area there. We had one little bit of a flyer back and high, and the 2 that were missing are just behind the template right above his back there. So yeah, that would have absolutely hammered that deer, and I don't think he would have made it very far, if anywhere at all. So at 40 yards, that is an absolutely devastating deer hunting combination right there. And with how that pattern looks, you could push that out to 50 yards as well and still have a plenty good enough pattern to get the job done. And it kind of seems like this combo might be one of those where you run out of energy with the double-aught pellets before you run out of pattern capability, which is definitely a good thing if you want to set a certain limited range and use it within that. You're going to be good to go with that combo right there. So looking very nice for deer, but let's throw the hog template up and just take a look at what it looks like on a little bit smaller body sized animal as well. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same story, but I've got it out here, so let's take a peek at it. So here's that hog template, and like I expected, it's pretty well the exact same story. That would absolutely be devastating on a hog all day long. And if you're one of those guys that may have to or want to use a double-aught shell for coyotes or something, a coyote would be just a little bit smaller than this hog template is, and you would still have probably 8, 9, 10 of them right through the vitals or shoulder area on a coyote as well. So at 40 yards, that would absolutely hammer those guys as well. So overall, this combination worked out very nicely. It might not be the tightest spread of buckshot we've ever tested, but 12 pellets worth of double-aught at 40 yards within a 16-inch spread right there, that's going to absolutely be devastating out on a hunt. Pretty much no matter what you use it on, that you would typically use double-aught buck for in the first place. So really, no complaints from me here today on these results. We're looking good here. And here's the wad from that shell, and this one does look a little banged up, or at least twisted up. Now, I don't really think that was from the choke because it doesn't really look like it snagged on anything up here on the tips of the pedals, but this wad only flew about 20 yards or so, and typically they make it to about the 35-yard mark before they land on the ground, so it may very well have smashed into the ground a little bit and bent it up. But overall, looks very much normal otherwise. Nothing stuck down in there. We might have one or two tiny little rips in the side, but going through a ported kick choke, that's not at all unusual, and clearly I think it did its job just fine, so really no concerns at all from me as far as this wad goes. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? That is absolutely a very nice, very usable pattern all day long. That's pretty much what I was hoping to see coming into it here. I expected some decent results, both out of those copper-plated 12 pellet loads and that Kicks butt kicker, so combining the two should have given us a good result, and I definitely think that's what we saw here. I wouldn't hesitate to use that on a deer hunt or a hog hunt or anything like that, and if I had a coyote come past me or something out to 40 or 50 yards, that's absolutely going to hammer those guys as well. So I don't think we can really complain today. We might have saw one or two little flyers up at the top, or borderline flyers, but that's not unusual for a double-aught load in general, and they weren't really out in the middle of nowhere, so I'd say we're looking pretty solid today. But I guess leave all your thoughts down in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of the copper-plated 12 pellet double-aught shells? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? And is that a good enough pattern for you to take out on a deer hunt or a hog hunt or something? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.